Hey guys, welcome back to Turn Pages, and I am back finally after several weeks. Um, I owe you guys a favorite romance books video. The reason why that didn't go up a couple of weeks ago is because I got all the books off my shelf that I've read that I view as favorite romance books, and I realized there just wasn't enough to dedicate a whole video of telling you guys my favorite ones as well as recommending them to you. So, I mean, I could recommend several, like The Edge of Never would be high on my list, and Gabriel's Inferno. Those are like my top two favorite in terms of romance. But I feel like I want to finish the Gabriel's Inferno series, then highly recommend them, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to really enjoy the rest of them, but I haven't finished the series yet, and it just didn't feel enough to make a whole separate video about it. But today I thought I would do, I was very inspired to do this video based on one of Sam from Thoughts on Tomes videos, in terms of standalone novels that I want to read, because these are all standalone novels that I've had for however many time. Some are adult, and I have adult stack of books and a YA stack of books. So we're gonna get into the YA ones first because those are always the ones that I've had the longest. So the first one is Hero by Perry Moore, and I bought this book several months, more than I think a year ago. This is actually about a gay superhero, and it just sounds super interesting. And I've had this for a really long time, and I've heard nobody talk about this book, and the fact that the author has passed away, he committed suicide a couple of years ago, makes me really, really sad. So hopefully I will get around to reading this within the next couple of months. The winter time, I read so much books. I remember last year I was really in a reading mood. I just didn't know what I wanted to read, and I'm not going to have an issue with that this year. So hopefully this will be one that I read, and it's not too big, so I'm really hoping to get to this one soon. The next one, and several of these are LGBT books, but the next one I have is Fan Art by Hirachige. I have been trying to get into this book for a while, and I never get very far. I'm only 24 pages in, and I read several pages of it, and it never initially hooks me. But basically this is about two boys, about Jamie, who has his best friend named Mason, which he really likes, but they're also incredibly tight-knit best friends, and he doesn't want to say something to him to say that he's also, he likes him too without ruining their friendship. And overall, this is basically a story about falling in love with your best friend. And I really like the cover to this. It's very shiny, so that it's going to glare like that, but this looks really, really interesting, and I am very excited to read it. I was highly recommended this on my Instagram, so will hopefully read it this winter, and just, read it in general. And then the next two books are actually by the same author, so I'll just show you them both at the same time. The first one is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and the second one is The Upside of Unrequired, both by Becky Arbitelli, however you say the lady's name. These are both standalone novels, but this one has a cameo character from this book, but these are still standalones. You don't have to read one before you can read the other. This just sounds really awesome, and both of these have tons of diversity in here, and that is beautiful, especially LGBTQIA diversity, and that's wonderful. I think this one has some people of color in here. I don't know because I haven't read it, obviously, but I'm really excited to read both of these. This one's being made into a movie. The movie is called Simon Love, which is kind of retarded. I wish they would have just have kept this, but whatever. It looks really good. I've seen little snippets of like pictures. I don't know if the trailer has been released, but it looks good, and hopefully I will get around to reading this because it's barely 300 pages. So, it's over 300, but you guys get the gist. So yeah, these two, I'm very excited, and look how nice these look. Like, I love the red and blue. Then we have a book I have had for like 2 2 years, if not longer, and that is Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. A lot of people hate this book and says that the love interest in this book is really creepy and rapey and all those things. So we'll see what I think of it. But my best friend, Evers, she really enjoyed this, and she didn't get any of those vibes, so she highly recommends it as, you know, a nice YA thriller. So I'm excited to read this. This looks really good. It's about a young girl named Britt who gets caught in a storm, and she is basically kidnapped, sort of, not allowed to leave by these group of guys. They basically are criminals, I think, and she has to show them how to navigate out of this really snowy mountain, or they'll all freeze to death, I think. So that's just the gist of it, I think. My last 2 YA ones. The next one I have is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which is highly recommended by a lot of people in the book YouTube world, and just novels in general in terms of YA lit. This is wonderful. It's gotten tons of awards, and how Simon vs. Homo sapiens Agenda got a movie before this book, I don't know, and this book came out before that one did, so I don't know why things happen that way, but apparently it's really good, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy it. But I have a feeling that I'm going to enjoy this one a little bit more. Who knows? He also has another book which I did not bring in here, and that is called I don't know the title of it, but it's his other book that just came out this year. Oh, what is it called? I forgot. I'll leave a down bar, or I'll leave it, or whatever. And then the last YA book is going to be on The Love Interest by Cale Dyrick. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. This book was a pre-order. I pre-ordered this about a month. No. I pre-ordered this about a month and a half before this released, and I got this I pre-ordered this from Barnes & Noble, and it's in the most gorgeous copy. Not one part of this book is damaged in the slightest. I'm one of the most pickiest people when it comes to physical copies. Ask anybody who knows me. Like, but this story really sounds intriguing. This is about like teenage spy organizations, and this book plays on a lot of the YA tropes because it's called The Love Interest, and it follows Caden and Dylan. Caden is the typical good guy, and Dylan is the bad boy, the super bad boy, typical, I'm not good for you, typical bad boy, things. And so basically they have to be put into the wild and basically kill each other off, and whoever is left standing gets this special girl or whatever. And then there's a huge twist where instead of falling in love with this girl, they both start falling in love with each other. It sounds super good. I've been wanting to read this book for like forever, and I need to just get over it and start reading. This is a standalone. The author said he is open to the idea of making this a series, and some people want that and some people don't, because they think this was just a perfect book by itself. Okay, so the next one is going to be my adult section ones. So the first 3 are by one author. I'll just show you those. And this goes for almost all of her books, but these were the 3 I'm most interested in of her books. But the author is Colleen Hoover, so this is the one I'm most interested in, and that's why I'm showing it first. That's Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. Everyone has told me this is one of the most enjoyable books, and Colleen Hoover is pretty much a romance writer. I mean, I have all of her books. I have every single one of her books except for It Ends With Us, which I might tell in a later video as to why I will never read it. If you want to know now, I will just, in a nutshell, it's a book that deals with domestic violence, and I just don't want to read that. with, you know, the whole 50 Shades thing being a series that romanticizes and glamorizes an abusive relationship. I don't want to read an actual abusive relationship that's being pointed out as such. I just, we see that all over the place. I don't want to read that in my books. That's just in a nutshell. So that went to a very darker place, but we're back into the wonderfulness. But this is definitely a book that I'm really excited for. Love the cover. There's actually a soundtrack that Colleen Hoover hooked up sounds like sleeping with, but she collaborated with musician Peter Griffin. Oh my gosh, what the fuck is his name? Griffin Peterson, I think. I'm a horrible person because I can't remember names worth crap, but it's about a girl named Sydney who basically gets kid. Basically, she's in a really crappy place at the very beginning of the book, and then she meets Ridge, who is a deaf musician, and things happen. So that's all I know on this one. And then the next one I know, and the next one I have that is Ugly Love, which actually is maybe being made into a film. I don't know. I don't know anything about this except for it's about Tate and Miles, and one of their perspectives is present, and then the other perspective is past. So it goes like back and forth between the two. Love the cover. Love this cover. It's one of my favorites of Colleen's books. I don't really know anything about this. Everyone recommends her books, and I'm definitely going to start reading her books more because her books just sound really incredible, and I definitely want to start reading more of them, or well, reading them. I haven't read a single one of her books yet, but let me know which book by Colleen Hoover you would like me to review first, because I'm going to be reviewing all of them. I don't know if I've told you guys this in the past, but I'm not going to be doing individual reviews for book series, at least not YA ones or middle grade ones. Those are going to be in a series review when I finish all the books. And then the last Colleen Hoover book is actually her newest book out, and that is Without Merit by, once again, Colleen Hoover. And this is hardback. A lot of people are like, I posted this on my Twitter account with all my Colleen Hoover books lined up, and they're like, where did you get a hardcover? And it's like, you can get it on Amazon and Walmart.com. That's where I got mine because it's beautiful and pretty. It's really weird to hold a book that by Colleen Hoover looking like the inside has a synopsis, and then going into the back and seeing an actual author photo. It's just really fun. So it doesn't match up with the other ones in terms of like height, but this one goes on the very end. But this basically is about a teenage girl who deals with depression, and I love how Colleen Hoover is starting to really work with really interesting concepts. Her last book dealt with domestic violence, and this one deals with depression, so I really respect her in that aspect of bringing really mature real life elements to her books. I think this is going to be great. A lot of people says that this is YA, but a friend of mine who just finished this said the girl character in here is 17, but it very much felt like an adult novel. So that's why it's considered adult in my room. And this one I have Hannah from Bookworms Talk to thank, because it was her review of this book that made me want to read it, and that is Tear You Apart by Megan Hart. There's a quote in this book that I just love, and if I can find it here, I'm going to read it to you. There is, and I'm just going to read this little bit to you because it's not really much of a spoiler or anything, and it says, then I get up slowly and quietly. Then I get up slowly and quietly and dress. I leave without a note or another word, because the kindest thing you can do for someone you love is never tell them how much they have broken your heart. That alone makes me want to dive into this book, and it's not even 300 pages. It's like 200 something, like 294 pages. So that's pretty awesome, and I think this might be my first Megan Hart book. I have 6 of her books. They're over there. I don't really do book hauls anymore, just because I don't know. They just don't really do anything for me anymore, because I've made so many book hauls, and they're fun to do, but I normally never say what I want to say about the books, and normally I have so many books in a book haul, I just don't don't want to do that, but I just don't do them anymore. So um, if it is a standalone novel, it will have its own video. So when I read this book and finish it and enjoy it, which I'm pretty sure I will anyway, then I will be doing this in its own video. Everyone has told me this book is going to tear me apart, tear you apart. I'm really excited to have my heart ripped out of my chest. I like those books. I love those books that are so beautiful and then they destroy you. Maybe I'm weird, but I really like those kind of books. Um, and then I have another book which I've had for like ever, and that is Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. I did get rid of my Rainbow Rowell books that were adult, Eleanor and Park and Fangirl. I don't have anymore. I'm just not interested in them anymore. I might buy them for my Kindle and read them on my Kindle or audiobook them so I can read those stories that way. And if I really love them enough, I will repurchase them. I gave them away to friends who would enjoy them more. This book has always just really stuck like a whatever that word is, like a chord with me, and I love the back. It's kind of creepy sounding, but it says, "Hi, I'm the guy who reads your email, and also I love you." This is a YA. No, it isn't. This is a adult contemporary book about this guy named Lincoln, who's he works for this company where it's his job that he reads everybody in the company who works. He just reads their emails, making sure they're not talking about the company. He's like gossiping or trash talking the company through email. And he begins to read these two girls named Jennifer and Beth, and he begins to fall in love with one of the girls via their emails. So this sounds like a really fantastic book, and it actually goes back and forth between their actual emails, which is really, really great, and then it goes to, well, if I can find a part of it, and then it goes to actual text. So it's like two different formats of a book. So, and this one's like 320 pages, so I'm really excited to get to this one. So when I'm in the mood for an adult contemporary, like different format kind of book, I'll definitely be reading this one because it looks so good and I love the cover. I did want this in hardback, but you can't get it anymore, which is kind of sad. And then the next one I have is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and I really wanted to read this book after a lot of booktubers were talking about it. Basically, this is about two people who literally hate each other's fucking guts. Lucy and Joshua. And this just looks fun. This looks like a blast. This looks like a lot of fun. And it's always like, it always looks like this on my shelves, and I love the spine. I love Lucy's on the top and Joshua's on the bottom. I love the font. It just looks really good. And I watched a video on Sally Thorne and why she wrote this book and why, and it just looks really, really good. And I'm guessing they eventually fall in love because it is a quote-unquote like romance-y, not really romance book. So this looks really good, and I'm really excited to read this one. And then this is actually new adult, and that is The Race for Second by Chase Potter. This is a standalone novel LGBTQIA book, and this is about a guy named Ethan who actually goes to Germany to study abroad because he really wants to learn like the histories of Germany and I think things like that. And then he begins to fall in love with this guy named Daniel, and everyone tells me this is going to give me so many feels, and I'm really excited to read this. This looks incredible. The cover is so awesome. I love the cover to this. And that's the back. I'm just really excited. This looks really good. It's like 250 pages. The text is pretty decent, so this is very high on my list of reads. And then the last one, 20 minutes, I'm sorry. When it comes to book, I can go on like a bitch and everything. The last one is, a lot of people compare this book to The Hating Game because it has a little bit of a similar premise, but that book is Dating You, Hating You by Christina Hobb and Lauren Billings under the name Christina Lauren. Now, I did read one other book by this duo author set, and that was Beautiful Bastard, and I really, really hated that book. I didn't understand the concept of we hate each other's fucking guts, and then we're just gonna have sex. It just didn't make any sense to me. I did read that several years ago, and I want to say that was either 2013 or 2014. maybe 2015, I kind of forgot at this point, but I want to reread it. Maybe through an audiobook would be different, see if I still have those same opinions, because I'm interested in the later books of that huge series of like 10 books. But this is their first ever standalone romance adult book, so I thought this would be this one. Very similar. These are people who work in these like cubicles, and they both really dislike each other immensely. But what I love, this focus on Evie and Carter. What I love about this book that the hating game is nothing is completely through Lucy's perspective. This book, you get the workings of both of these characters' perspectives, and I think that if we could have gotten Joshua's perspective in the hating game as well, it probably would have added even more to that story. But it just I want to read this. It looks and sounds really good. It's like 350 something pages. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is exactly 350 pages, which is the ideal, perfect book length for me. If you have a book that's like 350 pages, it's perfect size for me. So I'm really excited to read all of these books. If there's any one of these standalone novels you particularly would like to see me review first, please post them down in the description. I will also have a review posted up into the card to a video I will be filming right after this, which will be uploaded tomorrow because it's like not 8 o'clock at night now, and it'll take forever to upload. But since this video was all about the standalone novels that I really want to read, it only makes sense for me to make a video about the series I would like to start, and then I will do another video that's related to that, saying all the series that I want to either continue or get caught up with. So I will see you guys in just a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.